One, two, one, two, three, four.
It goes back to really defining the needs of the market, the needs of the customer, and not so much in the terms of how you apply it, but how they apply it, and then making your product or service meet those needs.
I think that Jim and Dan, when they wrote Lean Thinking, were incredibly insightful. And the first thing they said was, say, well, can you define and specify a value? And I think that's very interesting because when people read this and you say, well, wow, yes, we should do this, but oh, wow, it's too hard. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, flow. Oh, yeah, we can draw a map. But I think this, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're talking about, you talk about needs, I talk about preferences. What makes a customer in front of two similar products prefer one? This is what we need to capture. And usually it's a feeling. And how do we translate these feelings in technical ways? You know, when you buy a Toyota, your preference is to peace of mind. Other people buy cars that their preferences would be to sportiness or look or size. Toyota sells peace of mind, which explains why when they have this safety scandal, it's such a huge problem to them, because suddenly, regardless of the fact that there was nothing wrong with their car, the scandal negatively affects the peace of mind of Toyota owners. So you take a lot of value out of them. Certainly when I drive my Prius, one of the things that I value is the silence inside. Again, this is a feeling of silence. It's just not the car is not noisy. It's a feeling of silence. So it's not just, I would go beyond needs. It's preferences. Preferences are usually about a feeling that the object gives you. And as an engineer, is how do we translate this into technical parameters that we can then reproduce through a manufacturing value stream or through a knowledge value stream? And I think this is, it's hours of fun. When you get into it, it's very hard, it's very demanding, but it really takes you into very different directions for your products. And in the end, it's interesting to see that you make very different technical choices.
I think the age of marketing has become, you know, you have the 4 Ps of promotion, price, product, and place. But I think there's a 5th P now, and what I would say is preciseness, or precise is really what it's come down to. And you have to be very precise in what I call, you know, not just customer value, but the CTQs, the critical quality issues of customer value, is what you have to address. It's just not customer value now. You have to go right to them CTQs and address it. And to do that, you really have to go to Gemba, which is the customer's place.
And it brings back to our conversation on PDCA and being an explicit knowledge. I think you're totally correct. I mean, we're no longer in Mad Men, you know, being brilliant and having these large statements or these hunches and feelings are not enough. We now have to bring it back to precise statements of what we have in mind, and to confirm these statements with customers through experiments with products, so that the knowledge is yes, precision. The knowledge is far more precise. Absolutely. I agree with you.
And I think the reason for that is I go back, is that we're in a demand-driven environment versus just supplying people things, okay? So that customer does have them choices. He does, you know, he can go buy a product anywhere.
Well, we're in demand, we're in a renewal environment. We see this, and when we look at studies about well-being and economy, and people, you know, at first well-being increases with wealth and then it plateaus. And one of the reasons is that because when you don't have a washing machine and you get one, you're massively better off. You feel much better. But when you have a washing machine and you replace it, your marginal well-being is very limited. And I think we reached the stage where now there are very few products you get excited about. The iPad, I mean, there are so very few products, it's new. Most of the products we have or services we have are renewal products. And the new one is not even really better than the old one. It's just a bit different. So it's hard to get that pizzazz, that interest. So yes, it's very demand driven. And in that world, taking away cost of ownership is a very sane strategy because, again, you establish yourself as a standard because there's a burden to choice. One thing I would add with the demand-driven, I would really think about increased complexity. The complexity, we have the means to do everything in our lives, but the complexity compared to just 100 years ago has exponentially increased. It's incredible. There is everything everywhere. The knowledge is everywhere. It's very complex. And there is a psychological burden to this complexity. We have to make far many more choices than anybody before. So if as providers, we simplify the choices because it's a no-brainer, then our product just works better, is less cumbersome to use, is less costly, then customers will naturally flock to it and be loyal to the brand, not because of the brand image, because they trust it. And I think this is where the lean approach is completely adapted to a world of change, of demand-driven and complexity-driven world of marketing.
I see lean just a natural, it's just spot on what's happening with the demand-driven world. Lean is a natural reaction to it.